guys, and welcome back to another episode of Genshin Impact Hangout Events. In the last episode, we got another ending in Kaveh's Hangout Events, and in this episode, we'll be getting yet another. I'm not quite sure what we got last week. Let's see. What did we get last week? Let's see. I think we got this one last week, which was very nice. I think we'll go back to Tavern Heart to Heart and try to get one of these other branches today. Get something new. Which is why I sat on that bench right there. Oh, Kaveh, my sweet boy. Oh my goodness.
Taking this commission was truly the worst decision ever.
You okay, Kaveh?
Oh, hey. I wasn't expecting to run into you here. Actually, while we're on that, what are you doing here at the tavern? Don't listen to anyone who says that drinking is an elegant pastime. It's no good for your health.
I followed you here.
So you saw all that, did you? I thought I was in the clear. I made sure to double check that nobody I knew was around. Anyway, thanks for looking out for me. Honestly, it wasn't that big of a deal. I'm used to it by now. Stress is just an inescapable part of being a working adult. Boss, I'll have a glass of wine. Same as last time. Do you want something too? I'll put it on my tab.
I'll have a glass of juice.
Wine and a glass of juice coming right up.
I know you're already keeping a secret from me, but if you could add this one to the list as well, I'd really appreciate it. Arguing with a client is not a good look for me. If word gets out, other potential clients might be afraid to work with me. That guy, though, what was he even going on about? All those ridiculous demands of his? He's just a blabbering fool trying to act like a know-it-all.
Kaveh seems a lot more honest after he's had some wine.
Another glass, please, boss. I'm not leaving today till someone has to carry me out.
Oh boy.
You've got it, sir. I gotta say, though, it almost feels like you're saying that every other day now.
It really is every other day that you'd run into a client who knows nothing about construction requirements or architectural style. If this was in the past, I'd never have gone through 6 whole drafts trying to accommodate the client's preferences. But perhaps getting used to this just means that I've grown numb to it. I've worked on so many projects since graduation, and none of them have been approved at the first pass. I would spend a lot of time altering my designs, and by the time the clients were finally satisfied, all my passion and enthusiasm would be gone. It feels like I'm straying further and further from my artistic vision with every change I have to make. I suppose, though, that just sticking to your guns and completely disregarding other people's feedback would also not be a good thing. All of this makes for a real paradox, one that particularly crops up in my work, too. In the end, what is the true meaning of art? Should I see it as a divine gift of inspiration from the gods? Or an expression of the light of my own wisdom?
Here's your drink. How are you already spouting nonsense after just one glass? Your tolerance is usually much better than that.
Boss, what do you think is the meaning of art?
The meaning of art? Really, my friend, who in Sumeru understands art better than you? Anyway, I don't know about art, but I do know that I'm interested in business, and some patrons are waiting to be served. So, you'll have to excuse me for now. Just holler if you need anything.
What do you think, traveler?
I honestly have no idea.
No worries. It was just an offhand question. It's been bothering me for a while. Even when I'm awake, the question haunts me like a bad dream. I still haven't found a good answer to it. Or was never a correct answer in the first place.
Kaveh still looks dejected, and even the wine didn't help his mood. How can I help cheer him up? I should play it safe and make a simple suggestion. I'll help you convince the client to come to your side.
Hmm? Thanks for offering, but you've seen how he is. He's not going to listen to anything I say. He understands nothing about my design, and all the suggestions he made were as if he just wanted to mock me.
I don't think he was intentionally trying to be difficult.
Okay, it is possible that I was just jaded by my frustration. Well, given I'm already on my 6th draft, I can probably push myself to make a 7th. Let's go have another talk with him. I know where we'd be able to find the guy. There's no time to waste. The wine can wait until another time. I'll go take care of the bill.
There we go. Okay, looks like we're going over to Port Armos. I think I need to adjust my avatar a bit. There we go. Okay, over to Port Armos. Oh, there he is. House easy.
Kaveh, what are you doing here?
I've changed my mind. I was overreacting earlier. Can we try discussing the project some more?
My apologies as well. Now that I think about it, some of my requests were indeed a bit unreasonable. If I choose you to create the design for my project, I should have a bit more faith in your vision.
Thank you for understanding. Mutual trust is the basis for good communication. Now that we've got that out of the way, I think we can have a more productive conversation. To be perfectly honest, your commission request has been the most peculiar one I've ever received. Even now, I still know nothing about the building's intended purpose. All I know is that you want to build something in the desert for public use. I am aware that overly specific requests will restrain the architect's artistic freedom. However, knowing nothing about the intended purpose of the building also means I have no idea if I'm on the right track. I've produced several draft proposals for you to choose from, and you've rejected every single one. If we don't get on the same page, it could be a decade before we can finally break ground on this project.
Yes, I've given this some thought already. I think we can go with the general direction of the latest proposal that you just showed me. It's just...
Just what?
Putting the building design aside, can we get some less expensive materials for the floor tiles? Yeah, I know someone in the business, and the red bricks he sells can go for pretty cheap. The timber here as well. We should be able to find some substitutes.
Please give me a moment. My head's starting to hurt again. Just please hold on for a second. So, let me get this straight. You want to reduce the cost of the project, right? But if we implement your suggestions, then I'm afraid we have to scrap the entire design. Architectural design cannot be neatly split into discrete parts. Any change to one part of the design will affect the quality of the whole thing. I decided to utilize high-end timber for this section because the weight-bearing structure requires the supporting materials to be durable and strong. Same with the tiles. Switch them out and the entire mural will have to be redesigned. More importantly, if we make such a change, both its practical functionality and aesthetic value will take a great hit. If all you need is a building with a roof that can keep people dry in the rain, you shouldn't have commissioned me. Many architects would be able to build you one of those while charging far less in commission fees.
Actually, Please tell me, Are you absolutely sure that there's no room for any changes in this draft of the design?
I think the most important thing for me is to understand what you would actually like to get. If you could tell me more about your vision, I might be able to work with the design some more. You are the client, after all. You should have the final say on how the project turns out.
I want to build something unique. Something quiet and warm inside. A refuge that can block out the world outside. I want all who enter this building to be able to temporarily forget everything that's going on outside of the building and just focus on their task at hand.
That's a bit more information than last time, but it's still extremely vague. To put it another way, every rich person who wants to build a mansion for themselves would request something like this. We've gone through many proposals, and this draft is already the cheapest one. Cutting costs by substituting building materials will not only detract from the overall effect of the building, it also won't save you much more in the grand scheme of things.
Thank you for giving it so much thought. Please give me some more time to mull over the budget. I'll get back to you once I've figured out a solution. I still have a few business meetings that I must attend, so I'm afraid I'll have to leave for now. You can just leave the proposal as is. I'll get in touch once I've given it some more thought.
Why do I feel like he's hiding something?
I also have a similar feeling.
Should we follow him and see if anything unusual comes up?
Is that really okay? I mean, what he does now is none of our business. He does seem really suspicious, though. He dresses like a rich person, but when you talk to him, he hardly sounds the part.
He sounds super frugal, too.
That's actually pretty common. Not all rich people are spendthrifts. Many are just, as if not more, stingy than him. The more mora some people have, the more they love interfering with people's lives. Like constantly reminding you to pay back your debts, or hinting every other day that it's time for you to pay rent. Actually, now that I think about it, I'm not even sure this person really wants to work on this project with me. Putting his vague requests aside, he's still finding excuses to procrastinate even when we've decided on a plan. Who knows how long construction will take if he keeps delaying things like this? We should find him again and get some clearer answers. The sooner we can break ground on this, the better.
Okay, so we're tailing him.
Huh? Where did he go? I could have sworn he went this way. Let's keep looking. Oh, hey, look! Isn't that Badawi? It sure looks like him, but he's dressed completely different now. What is he up to?
Didn't I tell you before? I'm not looking for more workers. Plus, aren't you a bit old for physical labor? If something happens to you, I won't be able to pay for it.
Oh, you won't have to worry about that. I grew up as an Eremite mercenary and worked in the desert my entire life. My body's still in great shape. I don't have many talents, but I still have my muscle. If you need someone to unload goods or drive away sumpter beasts, I'm your man.
You used to be an Eremite mercenary?
I know there are a lot of bad apples in our ranks, but most are just trying to make a living. We're not that greedy by nature, and we'll do our best when given a job.
Let me think. I'm sorry, but I still can't take you in. I don't have any open positions right now, and don't have the mora for anything more. How about this? Why don't you try your luck somewhere else?
Okay.
He used to be a member of the Eremites? Huh. From the way he was dressed, I would have thought he was a merchant from the rainforest. Let's ask him about it. We meet again.
Huh? Why are you guys here?
That's what we wanted to ask you. Who are you? Why did you dress up like a merchant to talk to me about our project? There's no need for us to continue this project if you still want to keep hiding things from us. I don't work with individuals I can't trust.
Believe me, I didn't have any bad intentions. It's just... All right, there's no point hiding anything anymore. The building I'm trying to commission you for is not really a personal residence for me, but rather a library for children living in the desert.
A library? Funded entirely by yourself? Shouldn't this be the responsibility of the academia? I've heard that the academia will be looking to prioritize the desert with the allocation of educational resources and materials. It sent over a large shipment of regular goods just last month.
You're right, and I was aware of these happenings as well. I just figured what I want to do is a separate effort from what's already being done by the academia. The desert is too vast. Even if the academia spends a lot of effort trying to disseminate knowledge in those parts, it might still take decades, if not centuries, to reduce the educational gap that already exists between the two regions. And what's more, I don't know if the academia would ever reverse its stance in the future. All I know is that as a desert dweller, we should not wait passively for good things to happen to us. If we only did that, we'd never be able to stand up and hold our heads high. I don't have much longer left on this world, so I just want to use whatever time I have to contribute something to my homeland.
Then why didn't you just tell us that from the start?
I didn't want you to know that I came from the desert. I've lived in the desert my entire life, and there wasn't anyone here that I could trust. I figured I needed as much safety as I could get.
To the point that you even disguised your identity? That's certainly taking playing it safe to the next level. Hold on. Don't tell me you've also been scammed before.
When I first came to Sumeru City, I brought a lot of Mora, hoping to find an architect that I could work with. Someone agreed to take on the project, and even took a sum of Mora from me, but then disappeared without a trace. After that, I heard that there are a lot of untrustworthy people in this business. Some would run as soon as they've been paid, while others would deliberately use expensive materials and take a cut of the construction funding. I spent a while collecting information in the city, and eventually learned that you're the most famous architect in all of Sumeru. I figured that you wouldn't need to make Mora by scamming people, so I decided to reach out to you. By the way, how did you know I was scammed? I don't think I've ever mentioned that to anybody.
Just a hunch. A while ago, I accepted an offer to work on a project in the desert, and was also scammed out of a large sum of Mora. I ran into someone who was living in a pretty run-down house. I noticed a load-bearing wall on the verge of collapse, and suggested that I build a new house for him. He said that he had no way to pay for it, so I loaned him some of my own Mora, and told him to get some stone and timber from the local vendors. Soon after that, I found out that he had gone gambling with all the money, and lost everything, down to the last coin. And after that, he even borrowed Mora from me twice more, using a different excuse each time. I didn't even suspect him of any wrongdoing until he hired a group of mercenaries and tried to ambush me in his own house. According to him, I looked like an easy target because I was an academia scholar who didn't have any family or friends in the desert. What kind of person would just look at someone else and think, this guy looks like an easy target?
Those kinds of things do happen every once in a while, yes. Folks like him are the exact reason why us desert dwellers' reputation have gone down the drain. I must apologize to you on their behalf.
It's all right. You were also scammed by someone from Kasharwar after all. I should apologize to you on their behalf. Ultimately, neither of our experiences had anything to do with the desert or the rainforest. People who are new to an area are always easy targets for criminals.
Bad people are everywhere.
Yeah, you'll find both good and bad people everywhere. I can't understand the logic of those who like to take advantage of others, but I have to accept their existence as a fact of life. Anyway, I digress. Let's return to the topic at hand. Did you keep rejecting my designs because you thought I was deliberately using expensive materials to take a cut as a middleman?
That's what I was afraid of initially, yes. I eventually understood that you weren't out to cheat me. But unfortunately, I still don't have nearly enough mora to pay for the design you proposed. I've done the math, and know that we should be able to make it if we cut some corners. However, after our conversations, I can see that you're passionate about your design, and I'm quite fond of the proposal as well. So, I decided to try and see if I can afford your proposal as is. I've been looking for work every day, and in another month, I should be able to cobble together enough mora to meet the budget.
By cobble together, you mean you're going to spend your entire life savings on this project? But then, what will you do if something unexpected comes up, and you find yourself stuck with no emergency fund?
To be honest, I haven't really thought about that. I mean, when you've lived to be my age and something happens, you can't really call it unexpected anymore. All I want is to build this library before I leave this world, so that the children of the future would have some books to read, and the desert dwellers would be able to learn their letters and pick up some practical knowledge.
You seem really passionate about this project.
A while ago, I heard that the academia had decided to recruit a number of exceptional children from the desert. Of course, this is welcomed news. But as someone who's spent their entire life in the desert, I still have a few concerns. I know the desert life, and can predict what the problems will be. Many children from the desert have had neither the interest nor the proper environment to learn. So even if the academia would take them in, once they enter the halls, they might find themselves surrounded by other children who look and act very differently from them. And as a result, they might become socially isolated.
Yes, I can imagine that. My father passed away at an early age. Even though I had a good number of friends during my years at the academia, for some time I still sensed many critical looks in my direction. I'm sure a child coming all the way from the desert will have an even harder time. But let's bring this back to the building itself. I think you said that you want this building to be quiet and warm, with its doors serving as a solid barrier to block out the sound and fury outside, and allow one to focus on the book in their hands. Building it according to the current plan will be quite costly. Even if I don't charge you any commission fees, I don't think we'd be able to keep it under your budget. Any ideas on what we can do?
Can we try a slightly different style?
A slightly different style. Give me a minute. Most architects would probably prioritize cutting costs and removing extra features in this situation. Indeed, converting the building into a simple bungalow would solve most of our problems. However, I do not think this would be the best solution. While it's true that the aesthetic value of a building is often viewed as an afterthought, neglecting it has some long-term negative consequences. It is especially undesirable in this situation, as the library will serve a high number of children, many of whom would have never been exposed to structures that may be considered elegant or beautiful. To completely give up on the more aesthetic design would mean stripping the children of an opportunity to appreciate the beauty of architecture. I share Badawi's sentiments in wanting to preserve a more complex design. However, if we can reduce the ornate aspects of the design while maintaining its fundamental elegance, which is to say we won't touch the arches and stone pillars but make changes elsewhere, this is definitely a first. To make up for the loss of regular details, we would need to put a lot of extra effort into the layout, lines, and color.
I see. Would that really be okay?
It just increases the difficulty of the design. You should feel lucky that out of all the architects in the city, you chose to approach me. Most of the others would have given up on this project by now. As for inspiration, I think I might have something in mind, but I'd need to visit the site to make sure. Where do you want this place to be built? Tell me the exact location.
Aru Village. Although it wasn't my childhood home, I think it'll be the best site for such a building.
Okay, then we can pay a visit to Aru Village.
Is there something I can do for you? I've already caused you a lot of trouble before, and now you're revising the design again because of me. Which draft are we even on now? It's making me feel terribly guilty.
Let me think. You said you used to be an Eremite mercenary, right? In that case, you could help us clear out some monsters that are blocking the way to Aru Village. We want to keep the roads clear, and reduce the loss of materials during transport to a minimum. If everything goes well, that'll help us save some Mora.
All right, just leave it to me. If there's anything I'm good at, it's clearing out monsters.
What are you waiting for, then? Let's pack up and get ready to go. Most materials going from Caravan Ribat to Aru Village would pass through here. There are a lot of monsters out here today. If you find it hard to keep up, just let us know.
Oh, don't worry about me. This is nothing. I'll be careful, though, and you should do the same.
One with the force!
Rest and revamp!
Come at me! And shroud! Sight clear! Scanning!
You okay? Are you hurt?
I'm fine. I've spent my entire life fighting these kinds of monsters in the desert, after all. They won't get the best of me. But it's one thing to fight against monsters, and another to fight against an old injury. It's something I picked up when I was young. There were many fights between mercenary brigades back then, and one day someone stabbed me in the back. I don't think much of it back then, but with age, it's caught up to me. Few mercenaries get to enjoy their later years. Failing health tends to take the joy out of reputation and wealth, and many mercenaries never even made much of the latter to begin with.
Is there someone you know who can help to look after you?
Unfortunately, no. My wife passed away at an early age, and I don't have any children. Sometimes I'd close my eyes and realize most of my life story has already been written. I have many regrets about my past, but at the same time I also know that there were never many options for me in the first place. I joined the Eremites when I was young, and won many battles with them. My survival was more a matter of luck than actual ability. If at all possible, I want future children of the desert to have some more options in life. I don't want them to turn out like me. My apologies. The older we get, the more we tend to ramble. Seems like we've already cleared out most of the monsters. Let's hurry over to Aru Village.
Kaveh, what's on your mind?
I think it's really admirable of him to spend his whole life savings on people he's never met. Maybe he's doing this out of natural kindness. A kindness that hasn't been eroded away by the struggles of his life.
Doesn't that also sound like you?
Perhaps. To clarify, though, I don't think I'm quite the same. Some people call me an idealist. I do have some sentiments of that general persuasion, such as wanting everyone to be able to lead a happy life. But my situation is more complex than that. In the beginning, what drove me to harbor those thoughts was less idealism and more a desire to make up for a sense of guilt. When I was young, I impulsively encouraged my father to take part in the first Inter-Darshan Championship, hosted by the Academia. He set off confidently hoping to win something for me, but failed to clinch the title. What's more, he fell into depression after the competition, and requested to join an investigative research project in the desert. I never saw him again. Word has it that he got caught in quicksand. Even if other factors may have contributed to his death, the fundamental cause still circles back to me. I started doing many things in life because I wanted to make amends. Even in cases where I couldn't do something for a specific person, I still did whatever I could. I think I just wanted to make myself feel a little better.
And is that how you still feel?
At this point, even I don't know. I've tried self-reflection, but it didn't help. I can't seem to walk away from many things that I see or hear about, even if they don't directly concern me. And I can't quite pinpoint the source of it. Maybe it's just like what those Vahumana scholars often say. It's hard for people to truly understand themselves. I could be doing things out of endless guilt, or I could be doing them out of a strong sense of empathy. It could even just be a matter of conceit. The potential motivations could number in the dozens, but the actions they result in are the same. Anyway, I suppose I don't really mind being called an idealist. They also used that term to describe my father. It seemed to carry fewer connotations back when he was around. I've known Al-Haytham for many years now, and discussed
Of course,
my
he
ideology
manages
with
to
him
bring
for
up
nearly as
Al-Haytham.
long. Maybe argued is a better word for it. He told me a long time ago that no matter how strong of a swimmer you may be, you'll still get dragged under by the others who are drowning once you run out of stamina. He believes this is the fate that awaits all idealists. I still believe I should live by my ideals, and I've given him countless reasons why I think it's a good idea to do so. Perhaps my ideals are flawed, but are there really any perfect things in this world? Unfortunately, he remains unconvinced. His personality is the exact opposite of my own. If someone happens to drown next to him, he'll most likely stand on the shore and mumble something along the lines of respecting other people's fates. But as you can see, I'm not the only idealist in the world. Just as there are different seasons, there are also different people. There are many others who will continue to care about the fates of those who are not directly related to them. And when I finally run out of stamina, someone will also reach out and bring me back to shore. Someone will help me, right? Yes, I've already been helped like that before.
Of course. Should I have a life preserver at the ready?
Oh, please. It's not like we're actually talking about swimming. Also, just so you know, I actually took a swimming elective back in the day. Don't underestimate my skills. Either way, I'm feeling much better than when you first found me at the tavern. I can feel inspiration already welling up inside of me. Maybe this will be just the opportunity I needed to create a whole new style. All right, let's head to Aru Village. here, it's my partner's time to shine. Marak!
Marak!
Oh, what's this?
My toolbox. I built it using an ancient mechanical core. It's not too smart, but it's super useful and can help me with a variety of tasks. I'll take Marak and find a suitable location for the building. Once that is done, I'll get to work on a few designs.
Traveler?
Sataria?
Ah, you know each other?
Hello. I suppose you must be Kaveh from Kasharawar. I have heard of you before. My name is Sataria, and I'm currently the person in charge of promoting educational assistance programs here in the desert.
Educational assistance programs. Then you must be familiar with the local conditions here.
I can't say I'm too familiar just yet, but if you have any questions, I'll try my best to answer them.
I've been commissioned by Mr. Badawi to build a library in the desert. We've settled on the general design direction, but we are trying to finalize some details based on the conditions around the intended location.
A library? Do you intend to open it to the public for free?
That's right. I want to make sure the children will have books to read.
That's fantastic! I'm sure the children will be thrilled. Right now, we don't have access to many paper books or a quiet place to read. Truth be told, this very thing has been keeping me up at night.
Let me get straight to my questions then. Can you estimate the number of children around here who'd be interested in reading? Besides the usual noise of village pedestrians, are there any other sources of noise in the village? Oh, and have any landslides occurred here recently? And also, where are the spots around the village that have been most affected by wind and erosion? All right, that should be everything. Badawi, let's go over the budget again. We'll keep the building structure the same, but make the place a little bigger, so it'll be able to hold more people and get better natural light. The parts of the project that cost the most will be the insulation and ventilation materials. I'm sure you understand, no one likes to read in a place that's hot and stuffy. I want to make significant changes to the arrangement of the bookshelves, tables, and chairs. I'll go over the specifics of that shortly. I have two plans in mind. Both are pretty minimalist in style, but will provide a very different ambiance from the world outside. Our final cost should be around 70% of the last figure I quoted. The whole thing should take around half a year to complete. Marak has produced a sketch for all of you to see. If everyone's okay with it, then we'll proceed with that as the formal plan.
You got a new design plan already?
The inspiration just came to me naturally. All I did was put thoughts to paper. I must give you credit, though. If it weren't for your advice and suggestions, I probably wouldn't have landed on this new style so quickly. According to the traditions of my profession, I should probably name this style after you. Let's call it the Traveler style. In the meantime, let's look forward to the day when this building is completed and can finally open its doors.
Oh, we finally got to see Marak in an ending in one of the routes. I love that. I love that so much. I love that so much. Alright, so that's about it for this episode. In the next episode, let's go into this, and we got this time. So next time, we'll go back to Concealed Circumstances and try to get this other ending right here. Alright, so I will see you guys then. Bye-bye!
Cannot simply be quantified in monetary terms.